Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Can you come up in straight lines? Sit like the angels sit. In a straight line, yes. It looks like we're focused and clear and disciplined. Not that we're lax and we're lazy and we're rebellious. Look attentive and attention to Allah Almighty. You can start another row if you're too far down. Come by. Come back here with the young brothers. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba. Wahlam yajjallahu iwaja atmaduhu subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ashkuruhu wa huwa ahli hamda wa thana. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ومصطفى اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك محمد وأهله وصحبه وسلم. Praise be to the one Allah who revealed the book to his servant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and did not make any distortion to it. I praise him, Allah, the exalted one and the high. And I thank him. It is he who deserves the praise and gratitude. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, the one who has no partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad ﷺ is the servant of Allah, his messenger who was chosen by Allah. O Allah, let your blessings and your peace be upon your servant and your messenger Muhammad and on his family and companions. Ameen. Alhamdulillah bil alameen. We thank Allah Almighty. We really thank Allah Almighty for giving us life, bringing us in existence, and giving us an opportunity to know what real goodness is, what real joy is, what real friendship, real love, what it means to have an excellence from one's creator, a gratefulness, a gratitude that's 24/7 in a blessed or an awake servant's heart, mind, and body. Looking and seeing that the wisdom of their existence, the wisdom of a world, a created world, a wisdom of angels, a wisdom of jinn, a wisdom of shaitan, a wisdom of one's Lord. Seeing one's purpose totally connected to everything in existence, seen and unseen. Every human being comes to their mother, not made by their mother and father, but the mother and father being the conduit in which Allah Almighty's gift is being sent to them. The sperm being created in the loins of our father, the egg in the loins of our mother. And Allah bringing about that attraction and that connection to start a miraculous action that doesn't stop. It continues. Even if a child does not, their physical body is aborted in the womb, the soul of that child continues as if it was physically present. Allah does not waste any power. This is the tragedy of humanity, is that they don't know their Lord. They have no clue about their Lord in themselves. See, you can't know your Lord outside of yourself. You can't look at the sky and the universe and the earth and know your Lord. You can only know your Lord with that you are able to know. And that's through ourselves. Every human being. This is what we miss. And yet we run into churches, run into synagogues and mosques, temples. Reading books, chanting, praying, fasting. For what? Where's your Lord? Esau ibn Maryam said it best. Anything that's not of you, fight it. And when you fight and learn that is not of you, then you will see your Lord in you. Then you will act. You will see with the eyes of your Lord, hear with the ears of your Lord, speak with the tongue of your Lord, strike with the hands of your Lord. Your Lord will possess you. All things will be given unto you. The Prophet Muhammad said, fight every little petty thing outside of you that you think is big, that created part of you thinking that everything is so large. I'm so overwhelmed. I don't have a wife. I don't have a husband. I'm sick. I don't have a job. I don't have no kids. I don't have no friends. I'm sick. I'm mentally sick, physically sick, spirit. These are nothing. These are shackles of deception. Envy is not about being. Jealousy is not about being. Hatred is not about being. Arrogance is not about being. Pride is not of our being. But we take on that dress. And we wonder why I'm in difficulty all the time. You see somebody is in difficulty all the time. It's like somebody, you broke all the time. You unhappy all the time. You lack all the time. You angry all the time. You got full of arrogance and pride all the time. Something's wrong. You know, Joseph, may Allah be pleased with him. You know, the Egyptians, they did pretty phenomenal things. You know, the Egyptians were the ones that, the Pharaoh was the one that went against Moses. He was the biggest devil that they had ever seen. And his descendants perished in the flood when they were trying to attack Moses. And many of the people that was with Moses, Musa alayhi salam, did not get into the promised land because the people, after all the miracles that Allah Almighty had showed them, they showed a disrespect to Allah Almighty and to His messenger by not hearing and obeying the messenger when he said we have to fight those who are occupying the promised land. They didn't reach, so 40 years they were in the wilderness. That generation didn't reach. But there's a generation later on that reached, and Joseph alayhi salam was in that generation. And so Joseph, his brothers were jealous of him, and they threw him down the well, and he was taken to Egypt. And he served there until one of the servants of the king's wife tried to seduce him. And he proved that she had tried to seduce him because his shirt was torn from the back. So he was put in prison as a protection. When they brought him out because he was an interpreter of dreams. And he could determine the current events. And he was one submitting his will to Allah Almighty. He was showing gratitude for his existence. Just everything. Oh Allah, thank you for eyes. Oh Allah, thank you for ears. Oh Allah, thank you for my hands. Oh Allah, thank you for everything. He was a grateful person. His heart was clear. There was no disease in his heart. So when you show gratitude to Allah Almighty gives you something else to be grateful for. When you complain against your Lord, against your life, Allah Almighty gives you something else to complain about. But he knew the wisdom of gratitude. King brought him out. He became the king's advisor. If he was advising the king, he was the king. Allah made him the king. Because the king was going to him. Oh, Joseph, what shall we do? Joseph was sitting on the throne. You don't know? Who are you listening to? But it was Joseph, alayhi salam, who taught the Egyptians about Allah Almighty. They didn't know about Allah Almighty. How did he teach them about Allah Almighty? He taught them about Allah Almighty by teaching them about themselves. Allah Almighty has always sent a sultan to people. Those sultans that Allah Almighty sent among people, they carry the generosity, the love, and everything that every one of us have forgotten about. They come with a key. They come with a way in which to work on us, and we're not aware of them working on us. They have a means from their Lord. They see with the eyes of their Lord. They speak with the tongue of their Lord. They hear with the ears of their Lord. Their Lord possesses them to represent him. He always has sent sultans. That's always been the situation. Whenever a country had a sultan amongst them, they were flourishing. They were prosperous. They were happy. They were enlightened. They started to bring more technologies to make it more convenient for the people. The people were happy. When there was any problem, they would go to that sultan. And that sultan, by Allah Almighty's leave, was able to relieve them of the stress and the strain that a created mind listening to Shaitan could never have solved. Later in years, coming up, Allah Almighty speaks about Egypt. Egypt is a very special place. But Egypt has lost their connection to Allah Almighty because they threw out their sultan. The last sultan they had was King Farouk. They ran King Farouk out of town. At that time, Egypt had the treasures of 7 countries. Allah says in the Quran, go into Egypt to get anything that you're in need of, go to Egypt. There was nothing on the earth or in the universe that you couldn't go to Egypt and find it in Egypt. Egypt had everything because Allah Almighty had a sultan sitting there that he was using and sending all of that power through that sultan, through the people. SubhanAllah, Allahu Akbar. If he can speak through a bush, what about human beings? The crown of creation. This is what humanity have left, and that's why we are like those people when they threw Farouk out. The country had the treasures of 7 countries. When they threw him out, they became beggars. You go to Egypt now, they're beggars. The people are in the street now begging Shaitan for their prosperity, for their rights. Only Allah can give you your rights. And he gives us our rights through his sultans. Through his sultans. When there is ever a sultan on the earth, that is the shadow of Allah Almighty. Takbir! Allahu Akbar! That's the only mercy on earth is a sultan from Allah Almighty. Nothing else. We get rid of the sultans, we get rid of our prosperity, our salvation. Allah says in Quran, A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. These are Allah's words, not my words. Allah says, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Prophet and those charged with authority among you. If ye differ in anything among yourselves, refer it to Allah and His apostle. If you do believe in Allah in the last day, that is best and most suitable for final determination. So they are the gangsters. They are the gangsters. And this is what has happened in the Middle East. May Allah forgive them and forgive us. They ran away their kings, their sultans. And so now they go to the marketplace and get somebody to make them a sultan. You're going to go and put somebody in a position from the market to be a sultan? From east to west, north to south. You have false sultans sitting in a seat of authority that is not their right. And when Allah Almighty raised up a sultan from anywhere, that's a sign that all the false ones are about to fall. Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Ha! One of them can be like a bowling ball hitting those 10 pins. Takbir! Allahu Akbar! They always strike. They always strike. Because they're striking with the hand of Allah Almighty. This is what we have lost as a people. And we seek every means of reaching our desires other than through Allah and His apostle and those in authority of us. We use our desires, Shaitan whispers, and we come running. That's the only power he has on us as a whisper. That means that our desires are not right. See, there is no such thing as a disease of the mind. The disease is in the heart. Look at the society. Most people are so sick, doing so many decadent things. If you want to know who you are really, watch yourself when you're by yourself. Be a spy on yourself. And think about what you're thinking about. All the little decadent things you're thinking about in your head. All the little decadent things you're feeling in your heart. See, when Allah Almighty created us and He put that power in us and He allows us to come out the womb, He has already put that power in us. No one is born as an unbeliever. No one is born as a hypocrite. Everyone is born as believers. We make our children to be unbelievers. We teach them hypocrisy. We teach them unbelief. Because we say to them what we don't do. And we wonder why our kids grow up and they're devils now. Because you thought they were cute when they were acting like devils. You spare the rod, you make the ruin. We didn't say abuse them, but you got to let them know there's an authority in the household. And if you don't teach them, they will never learn. And we wonder why our prisons are filled up. Here we are, 15% of the population, 80% of the jail population. Most of our youth from the age of 16 to 25 in the grave. You don't even see how it's rare to see old people going to old people's funerals. You go to more young people's funerals nowadays. That's a sign something is wrong with us. And you ain't going to get it together running in the streets, hollering out to who? Run to your Lord. Run to the shelter that Allah Almighty has sent us. Run to those sultans that have the power. Because Allah says, you change what is in yourself, I'll change what is out you. What's outside of you. Those sultans have changed what is in themselves. They have the ability to do for their Lord what their Lord have done for them to do. They have that ability. But who has trained us not to hear and obey goodness? All our little false desires we have, all those, we don't even have them today. Where are they? What are they doing for you? If you gain the world, you lost your soul, you can't take it with you. So what is the whole point? always being whispered to and running after our desires. That means that we don't have a clue about ourselves. Dawood alayhi salam, Allah raised him up to be a warrior. He was a prophet. He was a musician. He was a poet. He lived a life. He was an artist. He lived a life. Allah's not saying don't enjoy your life. Allah wants us to enjoy the gifts and talents that we have. But he's saying don't forget me, because you know if you forget me, you won't remember you. And if you don't remember you, then what are you going to do? And this is what's happening to us. So we reading the Quran for what? Reading the Bible for what? Going to the mosque for what? Going on Hajj for what? Fasting on Ramadan for what? To continue to act like a shaitan? To die like that? Tragedy, never knowing who you are and whose you are. When Allah sends guidance from you, take it lightly. You think they don't know? You think they don't know what we do? You think all they got to do is say, you ain't do this, you ain't do that, stop it. You think that's all they got to do? You think once we lie to them, they're going to say, no, you're lying, I'm a proof. They think they spend their whole day trying to show you that you are lying when you know you're lying. Those angels have written down your act, and they give you so much time to repent before they write it as something that you're going to be punished for in this life. Allah says about his obedient servants, Allah Almighty says, I will give them a highest level of paradise anywhere they are. If they're in the movies, they got paradise. Right? They're just skatering, they got paradise. They're going in anybody's church or the synagogue or whatever. To a restaurant. They in paradise because they with their Lord and the Lord is with them. Those are the people wherever they are. They're affecting the environment. Shaitan has no power. Shaitan hates them. Because he has no power over it. He can't even get a whisper. He can't even whisper nobody else's ear to whisper in their ear. Because already they know they blocked off. They got it blocked off. Already. They're not from the market and made a sultan. Allah Almighty starts their process at a very, very early age. We don't know who they are. They're obscure. Then all of a sudden, when Allah Almighty says, okay, that's it. All right, Pharaoh, you and your wazirs is through all your staffs. Now I want my sultan to throw his. When Moses threw his, he ate up all those snakes that had come out his staffs, then started to eat on Pharaoh's palace. Pharaoh was claiming that he was Lord because he was going to the bathroom every 40 days. He started to go every 40 times a day after that. Well, I said, I'm going to show you what a sultan is, Pharaoh. I'm going to show you what a real gangster is. You think you gangster, you're a gangster. You ain't no gangster. You'll want to be, and I let you be. So I didn't want you to be. And that's what's happening now as we speak. Allah Almighty is raising up his peoples. East to west, north to south. People allow them to destroy places because of them. If it's one anywhere, Allah will not destroy that place or make them uncomfortable. Because they look to their Lord. They believe in their Lord. They seek their Lord. They hear and obey. Like we inhale and exhale our oxygen. That's how they hear and obey their Lord. Through the Rasul. From those putting authority over there. That's when Allah personalized. When you want to find Allah Almighty's love, really love you, he personalized it by sending you guidance. Guidance always comes in the person of someone. Allah said, I really love you, and I want to make it really, really plain so you don't have to imagine, you don't have to be here and listen to Shaitan, you don't even have to be caught up in the shadows of deception of not knowing and using your imagination. They are not guided by their imagination. They're guided by their Lord. They change any atmosphere. They come into place, it change. Atmosphere could be scattered, energy scattered. They want to come into place, energy's all focused. They don't have to say anything. That's what a sultan is. Sultan of the soul. All the souls get it attention. Because the soul knows that Allah Almighty sent it, but if it's weak, it's going to listen to the whisper of Shaitan. So they come in environments to strengthen the souls. Because there are no such thing as a soul that was created to be an unbeliever. Allah Almighty is just. Allah Almighty would never threaten us unless we had the ability to be obedient. So we're asking Allah Almighty to forgive us. In this month of Safar, which is the hardest month, the sun hadn't smiled that much here. I missed the sun. That's a sign that Allah is pleased when the sun is shining. Allah is not pleased with us. But He won't destroy it because of those whom He loves. They love Him. But don't take that for granted. Because He can remove them and then destroy the place. So we're asking Allah Almighty to be with those sultans that Allah loves. And they love Allah. Because that's our salvation. Not our books, not running to a building, but from the hearts of those whose hearts are connected to those who are connected to their Lord. Here and hereafter. Woman Allah Tawfiq al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala khairil mursalin Muhammad nabiyyi wa ahlihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It was the same. And if you really read the Quran, really searching for guidance and sincerity to be an obedient servant, Allah will show you those secrets all throughout the Quran. It's just like, again, the Bani Israel people. Allah gave them so much, it's unbelievable. There are no people that saw so many miracles than the Bani Israel people. Even to the time after Moses, when they were asking Allah Almighty, oh Allah, send someone to fight the oppressors that's wiping us out, that's killing us, that's stopping our growth and development. And prophet among them prayed to Allah to send someone to fight Goliath. And it's always the same situation. Someone that nobody knew. Someone that didn't have no wealth. Someone that only was just remembering and thinking about their Lord 24/7, praising their Lord. Just wanted to be with their Lord and just be a good person. Allah Almighty hid them, was training them until He wanted them to be shown Himself among them. Allah says, I wanted to be known, so I created creation. So when Allah Almighty wanted to be known, and we're in the worst of times now, Allah going to be known through His soldiers, His lions. None of them are going to say, it's me, I. They're going to tell you, by Allah Almighty's leave. They're going to say Allahu Akbar. And that's why Allah Almighty appoints them, raised them, because they are not going to be like those who forgot their Lord. Because when you forget about Allah, Allah forget about you. You don't want to be forgotten by your Lord. What did the oxygen forget about you? You're dead. Well, when you forget about Allah, you're dead too. You're just a zombie. No one thinks. We have to use our minds. We have to use our faith. We have to use our servanthood. We're not doing that. We're allowing this life to entertain us right into hell. Allah's servants dance, they party. Don't nobody jam like them. Prophet Dawood was seen dancing in the street one day. He was dancing and doing flips, and he was jumping straight up and down. And they said, who is that fool? And they said, that's the prophet of Allah Almighty. That's the king. That's the warrior. So what is he doing? Praising his Lord. Think he cared about that? What he was really saying is, y'all niggas ain't got a clue about you, let alone me. Yeah, I can say nigga because Shaitan was the original nigga. Allah speaks about niggardliness in the Quran. That's a rebellious person. That's not a race, a shape or form. That's a conduct. That's a character. That's a shaitan. A rebellious one against their Lord's guidance. The ones that snuff out our goodness and that are unjust to people. The ones sitting in seats taken from markets. Not raised by Allah Almighty's love. No. And we're going to see them. We're going to see them. Beg Allah to open up your heart so you may see them, because we cannot see them with our physical eyes because we are blinded. We have to ask Allah to open up our hearts to them so they may give to us. Because Allah sends them to raise us. We don't raise them, they raise us. And they have been sent for one reason and one reason only: to bring us out of hell. Because we are in hell. And you think you in hell, not in hell because you might hear some music and you feeling good, but you're going to be later on, you're going to be angry or depressed or something. That's hell. That's not paradise. Allah Almighty promised us, if you're going to be an obedient servant, I will give you paradise, the highest level of paradise, wherever you are. Those servants of Allah take that seriously. They believe that for real. They believe that. They act on that. So they don't allow themselves to be swayed from that. Come back to guidance. Come back to your Lord. Because if Allah Almighty forgets about us, we have been forgotten about. I don't think we came here to be forgotten about. We came here to make a joyful noise for our Lord. A joyful noise for our Lord. Here and hereafter. Woman Allah Tawfiq al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم